Jumpgate Evolution is a space action combat MMO. The one thing that I really want people to take away with Jumpgate is the experience of having, a massive space combat battle with tons of other people at the same time. My name's Herman Petershek, and I'm the producer on Jumpgate Evolution. To me, a lot of games are about getting the vision of an experience that you want to capture, and a lot of that comes from movies or books or other sorts of fiction. So if you think about something like the end of Return of the Jedi, where the fleets are kind of jumping in and they're fighting the Death Star, or the new Battlestar Galactica has a kind of raw feel to it. There's emotional moments in both games and movies, and if you can capture those and sort of deliver them to people, I think that's the best thing you can possibly do. Jumpgate Evolution is the fusion of games like Wing Commander, Privateer, X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter, sort of traditional science fiction space combat games with the MMO mechanics around it. And that's things like trading, missions, advancing, buying tons of equipment. There's a whole sort of player-driven economy aspect, so you can go out and mine and build things and sell them to other players and stuff. We're really trying to capture a sort of what I would call like the Han Solo experience. As a massive multiplayer game, it means that you can do this experience with thousands of people at the same time. You play a pilot, and so in the beginning of the game you choose from one of three nations, and those are Solrain, Quantar, and Octavius. The Solrain nation is sort of this mercantile state, but they're also kind of mafia. The Octavians we think of them as sort of Spartans. So they have this militaristic nature, but they're also mercenary in some way. The Quantar tend to be more spiritual as opposed to, say, religious, and so they have this mystic side, and so by having those three different groups to choose from, it allows players to have a rich experience so that they can experience the universe from three different sides. In terms of gameplay, there's lots of variety in Jumpgate. There's the traditional MMO features, so you get missions, you get experience, you gain rank. That allows you to then buy new equipment and advance your ships. A lot of these activities can be both done as a single player, but then there's also group activities. So, for example, there's end bosses of these giant motherships, and you really need a lot of people to take them down. And so getting a group of people together, coordinating the attack so that you have different abilities and different weapons, and you go in there and you try to figure out how do we defeat that really big alien mothership. And that's sort of a hallmark of endgames and MMOs is really coming together as a group and taking those things down. And then on the PvP side, it's similar, right? It's a group of, say, 50 players on each side trying to take down each other's giant battleship or something like that, or trying to hold a control point. And so it really builds the sense of camaraderie. The way I think about it is a really good MMO, when you're done playing that, you'll sort of go back to your station or whatever, and in chat you'll be like, remember that time we did that cool thing and took down that ship? That was really fun. Let's go do that again. Even then, talking smack to the other team and being like, well, last time we totally wiped you guys out. We want to try it again. And so it really allows people to have lots of different stuff they can do in the game. From the beginning of Jumpgate, we tried very hard to focus on ease of entry into the game, and that covers lots of different areas. There's the obvious thing, which is make the game intuitive to play. So instead of having a sort of long and boring tutorial that explains every tiny little feature, where people tend to sort of drop off and lose interest. It's like giving someone a huge manual and saying, read this before you can drive a car, instead of just sitting them in a car and saying, okay, put it in drive, and now do this, right? And so we've tried to take that approach where you start out and you're just in space, and we teach you, here's how you fly, here's how you shoot, here's what you do. And our approach has been that if you need a tutorial to explain something, it's probably too complicated. As a social game, we want as many people playing as possible, and so we've worked very hard to keep the system specifications as low as we can so that people who don't have the new $5,000 computer can sit down and play the game. You get frame rate hitches or long loading times, huge downloads, all those kinds of things prevent people from wanting to play the game. And so we try to reduce all those barriers to as small as possible. There's lots of different reasons that people are going to enjoy Jumpgate Evolution. For one thing, it provides a unique experience that hasn't been done yet. There's lots of fantasy MMOs out there, but there's not much else, and there's nothing that's really a space action experience online. And so when we approach games here at NetDevil, we try to think about what would we like to play in a game that's not there, and then provide that, and then there's probably going to be a market for that as well, right? Because there's going to be other people that want that. I'd love for people to come to me and say, hey, we did this huge battle and it was awesome. And then I'll feel real vindicated as a game developer. The best place to go for information is to just go to our homepage, which is jumpgateevolution.com. You could sign up for beta there, you can join the forums and talk to other players. The developers are on those as well, like people ask us questions and we kind of chat with them and talk about gameplay and stuff like that. And then we're always updating that site, you know, putting screenshots on and movies and information about different stuff. And it's really the way that we communicate with our players, and so that's a great place to go.